A while back, I spoke about cancel culture, and I've explained that cancel culture is nothing new actually. Societies always shut down people that don't meet their expectations. That's how society works. Today, you have mainstream media and you have social media. So today, the counseling happens on a much larger scale. If this was the 19th century, it would have just been banned and people kind of would have forgotten about you. That's it. Today, because it's visual media that can be stored, man, you're haunted when they counsel you. In any case, in this video, I want to elaborate on the dark side of this counsel culture that goes on. A lot of people elaborate on it already. Now, I'm not contradicting what I said earlier on this channel, that it's alright to hold people accountable if they haven't taken responsibility for their past errors. I'm totally fine with that. But what I'm not fine with, and what nobody should be fine with, is when a witch hunt is justified as a form of holding someone accountable. Holding someone accountable implies that you enforce consequences to force them to change their behavior for the better. If it's not intended to change someone's behavior for the better, that is nothing but revenge. That's nothing but punishment and escalation. And punishment, escalation, and revenge does not contribute to anything good. It will only increase the harm. Look, if someone killed, let's say Robert killed Frank, you killing Robert is not going to bring Frank back to life. It's not going to undo the harm. You're only going to increase the harm. So, revenge and punishment and all those things, they're only effective in scaring people temporarily. But to keep the fright or the fear effective, you need to increase the pain, you need to increase the damage, and that's going to escalate. So violence is unsustainable. To actually solve things in a community, you need to be constructive and you need to be willing to endure painful emotions. If you have parents who are narcissistic and they said horrible things to you that harmed you for a while, you need to feel the harm for you to process it, and you need to admit, okay, my parents were out of their minds, but not only my parents, the community allowed to be out of their minds. Also, the community was in on it. You have to process all of this and realize things can never be like they used to be. Because how they used to be was not good for you. How you want things to be, it's not how it ever will be. Because those people are not interested in solutions. Then that means you need to shake dust off your feet, continue, and then you can properly heal and recover. So solutions imply being vulnerable, experience the pain and the discomfort in order to process it. But what if a community is not interested in processing anything? What if they just want victims to escalate on? Now, in that case, it's very convenient to pick up someone who is guilty of something in the past. And what if that individual never repented of the thing they were guilty of? In this case, you have an actual guilty individual that you can use to justify your fit of rage. And that is what goes on in cancel culture right now. Let me give an example. Let's say you have a white banker who used to party as a blackface when he was in his 20s at college. Now, this is something quite horrible for a lot of people. But what if this banker explains, listen, I was just a young man, I never even realized how horrible this was. After I completed college, I looked back and I realized, hold on a minute, this. And after college, I never participated in blackface again. I'm no racist whatsoever. I even have black folks working for me and even black business partners. So if the guy could just explain, realize, you know what, that's correct, that wasn't right, but if you look at it, I distance myself from that. I'm a better individual. If he would have the chance to do that, fine. What happens now is that, let's say you have a white banker, and if you got, oh, you did blackface when you were in your 20s. Okay, even though it's 20 years ago, even though you may have become a better individual, man, we're going to get you for it. We don't care about solutions. We don't care about educating people. We don't care about actually improving things for the future. We just want to get you. who just want to smack you and unload on you, tell you're dead, or even if you don't die, you become mentally unstable and you end up in a mental asylum or you end up in jail, we want to see you go down. And here's the thing, those people who are cheering on that banker to go down, they have their own dirt that they don't want to face. So by now putting that banker in a negative daylight, they now can avoid having people looking at them. Now, let's say now you do have a creep who never repented. Let's say you have a man who is very misogynistic towards females, he even sexually harassed women in the past, and he never stopped. In this case, the best thing you can do is just explain to the masses, this man is not who you think he is, and is using his good image as a cover-up. You know what? There are other men who are not like this, and then you can take consequences, you can enforce consequences, just to prevent him from being able to continue his harm. In this case, you don't attack his humanity. In this case, you remain honorable, but you also honor the public by teaching the public why you're doing something and why it's justified, and you're open for correction. If the public tells you, don't mean it, this sexual harassment case happened 30 years ago, it shouldn't matter right now, then you should say, okay, it doesn't matter. Look, there should be a statute of limitations. Look, when you're in your teenage years, for example, you tend to express certain ideas that later when you're in your 20s, after you graduated college, you would think, no, hold on a minute, what was that? So people tend to change over time. Maybe you get a text message of someone, and now the same individual who wrote the text message looks at it and thinks, whoa, what did I do? They're not that same individual anymore. So for you to attack the improved individual for what they did when they were in a worse state, that's not going to be constructive. That's only going to increase damage. Oh, and here's another effect of it. That's what I call the dark side of cancel culture. If people have truly improved, I'm not talking about the reprobates who just fake as if they've improved, just exploit people. But even the reprobates, I don't recommend you just go out and attack, because then you participate in negativity and no good will come from that. If someone has truly improved and they became a contributor to good to the community, and you pick up something from their past that's a bit horrible or shameful, and you throw it into their face in public, humiliating them, other people will see this happening, and other people are going to be traumatized by it. Even though it's not happening to them, it's going to be very traumatic for people to see this happening to someone else. Especially someone else whom they can clearly see has improved and has done good to the community. Now look, what for effect does this have on the children? The children are going to get the message. It doesn't matter if you improve or become better. People always are entitled to use your past to destroy you. So when children see this, when children experience this, what do you think their behavior is going to be? They become desensitized to the bad things that go on around them. They're not going to be motivated to be contributing good people. Why not? Because, listen, you have contributing good people. Some of them used to be bad people. Some of them used to have issues in their lives. They resolved them, but hey, even years after resolving those issues, they can still be brought down for it. When a child is older in his or her teenage years, or when they're adult, going to think, hold on a minute. If any time everything I've built up can be taken away from me and from my children, why would I even build something up? So what you get then is that you will get a cynical climate in the community where people are not even interested in solutions anymore, because, hey, why would you look for solutions if you can be brought down anytime in the future? And look at this. If you have bad people who may consider not want to be bad anymore, they're going to think, you know what? I wasn't that good to other people. I was toxic. But if I become better now, people from the past that I've harmed or people that I did wrong can come out anytime and destroy me anyway. So I might as well remain bad. I might as well remain addicted. I might as well remain depressed. What for use is it for me to invest if investment can be taken away any time from me? So you demotivate the public from learning and becoming better. And that is what's going on now with this present day cancel culture. Again, there's a difference between holding someone accountable. Holding someone accountable should be about improving the community. It should not be about revenge or just dumping violence. The thing is, mankind has a very bad track record of pretending to hold someone accountable while they're just escalating on someone. When someone's holding you accountable, they are confronting you about something and they point out to you that things should be better, and they even give you an opportunity to comply with them. That's holding someone accountable. Now, reprobates don't even want to be held accountable because they already made up their mind that they just want to escape and escalate. So you shouldn't even waste your time holding a reprobate accountable because it's not going to work. You may even endanger yourself and other people because they may escalate in violent tantrums when you even challenge them. Because to hold someone accountable implies that you challenge what they did or what they stand for. And nobody, not even righteous people, enjoy being challenged. Nobody does. Well, if someone is a reprobate with no self-worth and with the entitlement that whatever they do is justified, well, that's a time bomb when you hold someone like that accountable. So holding people accountable should only be applied to people who are willing to improve or people who have already improved. You should never waste efforts holding a reprobate accountable. Never. Because it's not going to work. Even scripture is clear about this. That's why we're told that when people persist in filth or they persist in negativity, we should shake the dust off our feet and move on. We should leave them to their own devices. What happens now is that it's not even the reprobates that they're targeting. If it's only the reprobates that they would be targeting with violence, I wouldn't have approved it, but it would have been understandable. Because reprobates bring ruin everywhere they go. But now, they are attacking people who have improved or who want to improve. They're attacking them. So there's no benefit to the community. There's no benefit for anyone. And the alleged victims, in the past, many of them have already processed the trauma and moved on. And many of them aren't even interested in attacking the one that offended them. They just don't want to be involved in it. Now you have strangers who just have fits of rage, wanting to just escalate on someone. Again, it's one thing to hold someone accountable. It's another thing to scapegoat them. And the present day cancel culture is covert scapegoating. That's really what it is. And understand this. If you develop a climate like this, where people that are improved can be attacked anytime, you just said yes to reprobation for your community. Because if someone persists in negativity and they get backlash, that will motivate people not to go on the path of destruction. So that may have a contributing effect on the community. But if people are actually improving and they want to become better and you punish them, that's quite retarded. But that is what cancel culture is doing right now. And it's one thing you need to understand also. Every individual you cancel, you are destroying more than your story. Let's say you have this famous rapper who has been canceled for something he did 2 or 3 years ago, or for a song he even brought out 10 years ago. That famous rapper still has, let's say, maybe 2 or 3 million people who are his fans. If you cancel that guy, in the sense of that you just attack him to ruin him, you will also be harming those 2 or 3 million fans. And those 2 or 3 million fans are regular people with jobs, with families. Some have very sensitive jobs. They work in banks or in security or whatever. Others are just people who just go on through life without thinking much about it. But anyway, if you cancel that rapper, you also need to hurt all those 3 million fans. Now, even if those 3 million fans would also turn on the rapper, they're still wounded. What's going to happen when the whole public is wounded? It's not going well. Because that pain and that hurt that developed in them will go somewhere. It will leak out in a form of domestic violence. It will leak out in a form of sickness in the bodies. It will work out in the form of mental disorders. It will work out in the form of conflict, total miscommunication. So you casting out that rapper may give you a short-term elation. Hey, we did something good. We cashed that bad guy. We punched that sucker. Okay, it may give you a short-term elation. So, whoa, we did something good. But on the long term, you've caused a lot of damage. Let's say that rapper sexually assaulted someone 10 years ago. Now, if according to the courthouse, after 5 years, you can't be prosecuted anymore, you should leave it at that. If you can still be prosecuted, you can. I don't support the courthouses, but you can go to the courthouse and let the judge decide on the matter. But if you just go out and attack someone based on a rumor, because often it's based on rumors, not even concrete proof, what are you going to do if there's an increase in homicide in the community? What are you going to do if there's an increase in sexual violence? What are you going to do if there's an increase in diseases? What are you going to do if families don't fall apart because that central public figure has been attacked? What are you going to do? If it was sexual harassment, I don't approve of it, but it was just one case with one victim, and that one victim can receive therapy and they can heal and move on. It always will be difficult. But if you counsel that rapper in such a way that brings harm to 2 or 3 million people, now you may have hundreds or thousands of new cases of domestic violence, sexual harassment, and what are you going to do with all those thousands of people who are now harmed afterwards? You don't have enough psychologists, enough therapists, and enough police officers to deal with all of that. So, counseling someone, if it needs to happen, should happen in a proper, constructive way with the least harm to the community. That is justice. What people are doing now, for the most part, is revenge. And often it's not revenge for something bad they've done in the past, often it's revenge because of bad things people don't want to face about themselves. There are people out there who don't want to face their own darkness, so they want to take it out on someone else. That's what cancel culture is about. It's what gave people an outlet to escalate. And little by little, more and more people, both public figures as well as celebrities as well as commoners, are figuring out that cancel culture is quite dangerous. I'm telling you, just because something appears righteous and appears good doesn't mean it is. Always look at the context. And as you know of me, I'm not a fan of those courthouses because they're pagan and they're dedicated to devil worship. And they don't actually solve things. But what those courthouses, what I do have to give credit to those courthouses is that they check to the impact of the court case. Whether it's a civil case, a criminal case, whatever. They look at the impact. If a case would cause too much problems, too much trouble, or too much controversy in the community, the judge would say, case is missed, we're not going to prosecute this. There are times the judge will decide we're not going to continue with this case. Yes, there is proof. Yes, there is evidence that the defendant is guilty, but if we prosecute the defendant and sentence him, there's going to be riots. This riot is going to lead to business being looted. There are going to be people dying. There are going to be hundreds of people who have to go to jail then. And with those hundreds of people going to jail, there's going to be a lot of broken families. And broken families over time will be a breeding ground for criminality and mental disorders. So the judge realizes, you know what? Even though we should prosecute this man and put him behind bars, it's better to let him go with a fine or with a warning than to have the community been turned upside down. So those courthouses have the wisdom, at least, to know when to stop. But here's the thing, those warriors, I don't know, I'm not sure if you have to call them social justice warriors, but those warriors out there who have this warrior mentality, saying that council culture is about justice. It should be about justice. So the community should hold people accountable, but the present day council culture is not about justice. It's about revenge. So those people were warriors. In a sense, they want to bring down folks for something that happened in the past, or because someone says something that they don't like. They have no off switch. Those courthouses have an off switch. When they realize, you know what, prosecuting this defendant will have too much bad consequences, it's going to make us look bad, there's not going to be any benefit for the community, let's stop. Maybe you're in a court case, and the judge and the jury were determined, because they were against you, and you went into prayer, decrees and declarations, and suddenly the case was dropped. They don't want to talk about the case anymore. When you were praying, decreeing, declaring, trouble happened in the lives of the jury, in the lives of the judge, also in the system itself. So people realize, okay, if we continue with the case against this believer, we're going to face a lot of humiliation and embarrassment, and that's going to lead to people losing their trust in the courthouse, and a lot of people going to take matters in their own hands. It's going to be more bloodshed and more harm. So they realize, you know what, the ramifications are too big, leave us alone. But those reprobates who love to tear people down, pretending that it's all about justice, they have no off switch. They will go full in the attack, even at their own expense. So we should not endorse that type of behavior, neither should we allow them to have an outlet to do it. Because now they have an outlet in this cancel culture thing. Now, anyone who is a public figure, or anyone who achieves something in life, or will reach something in life, needs to beware. Because there may be some warrior out there who think they're doing the right thing, that will dig up the past. And if you find dirty laundry, they will post the dirty laundry all over social media just to bring him down. Such a climate is a climate of fear, a climate of terror, and a climate of terror will not benefit anyone. A climate of terror is very, very dangerous. A climate of terror will bring forth terrorists, and that's the last thing we need now. So, this audio clip has been for over 20 minutes, but I wanted to elaborate on the dark side of the present day cancel culture. Look, holding someone accountable is one thing, but that has to do with benefiting the community in the long run. It's nothing personal against the individual. But revenge is all about escalating to feel better. And escalating to feel better will never solve anything. It will only increase the harm and increase the damage. So we shouldn't participate in the second part. We should participate in holding people accountable, but shouldn't escalate in revenge and punishment. Well, that's it for now. Keep on agreeing with Christ and be at peace.